Hi, this is Jill Riley with the PAC Northwest Conference, and I'm happy to be with you here today. And I'm also really excited to welcome Heather McDaniel and Debbie Taylor. Let me tell you a little bit about them. Heather is the Director of Spiritual Formation for Bremerton UMC, and Debbie is at Monroe Covenant, and she is the Mending the Soul Ministry Coordinator for the conference. Welcome, ladies. So happy to have you here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We are here because the conference is supporting the Safe Sanctuaries training that is coming up on May 31st. And Debbie, could you tell us just a little bit about what this Safe Sanctuaries is?
Safe Sanctuaries is an initiative to help educate pastors in knowing how to pastor people who have been victims or survivors, whatever word you prefer, of intimate partner violence. So it's a really essential piece. 25% of women and 10% of men will experience this. So if you look at your congregation in 100 people, 35 of them will have been or be victims of in partner violence.
Right, it makes it so important as a church
Mhm.
body that we address this. And
Mhm.
Heather, how did you get involved with the Safe Sanctuaries project and initiative?
Going back before I felt the call to be a pastor, I had a master's in health behavior and health education, and has always been really passionate about the church being a place of healing and safety. And when I started seminary, I was approached during that process by a woman who was the victim of intimate partner violence and realized I had no idea how to respond. And the church was not feeling like a safe place for her. And I realized the church had a lot of work to do in knowing how to respond well. And I had a lot of work to do in
Mhm.
being a safe person, not just to counsel this individual woman, but to work to make the church a safe place where women and men could feel free to disclose and to be supported. And so I started seeking what I could find to prepare myself for this. And so when the Safe Sanctuary training came up, I was really excited to take it. So I took that year before last at midwinter.
Okay. So, how do you ladies feel like having safe sanctuaries interacts with the heart
Mhm.
of God and the heart of what the church should be? Heather, I'll go ahead and let you take that one.
Well, I believe God desires freedom for all of us and desires, and for us to have freedom, we need to be safe. We can't be under the oppressive control of somebody else. And that's what abuse is. And the church needs to be a place where freedom happens, where people come and find freedom, where freedom is encouraged. And it also needs to be a place that's safe for people to talk about what is preventing them from living in freedom. And it's so important in the issue of abuse that we are able to lead each other towards that freedom. And it is just imperative that we know how to recognize abuse and address it in a way that lifts up and empowers victim survivors.
Mhm.
Absolutely. And Debbie, what do you think is the biggest obstacle for churches being a safe place for individuals of
Mhm.
domestic violence?
Well, I think there's a lack of understanding of the issues. I think in the case of domestic violence, it's one of the few crimes where victims are blamed and told to go back and do it better, submit, whatever. I think scripture is often misused. It can be a great balm of healing, but it can also be very damaging.
Mhm.
And I don't think helping victims of intimate partner violence is intuitive. For me, it wasn't anyway. And so I think it's an area that really needs to be addressed holistically and well, and with some of the particulars of the way faith can be a help or a real hurt. So I think people's theology and their application of scripture is really important to wrestle with.
Yeah. Debbie, how can we help individuals learn to trust people in the church? And how can we help individuals in our churches be trustworthy?
Mhm.
Mhm.
Well, I think part of it is letting people have these trainings, right? So they know how to help. One of the things about this curriculum is that they recognize that churches need to be involved with community organizations
Mhm.
because we can't deal with this on our own. when you understand a situation, I think your compassion grows and your whole countenance reflects it, and it just becomes a safe place. And I think the church needs to be a vital place. I don't think we're always doing the important things like helping people on the margins that are suffering. So I think this is a great opportunity to be more in line with Jesus's mission.
Heather, short of hanging a banner as a church that says we are trustworthy, how
Mhm.
do we let people know that we as a congregation are people who are invested in their sense of safety, in their sense of trust, and invested in them as a part of our heartbeat for God?
That is such a great question because it's not just one thing, and hanging a banner won't do it. It needs to be a holistic effort that is integrated into every part of church. So, preaching needs to address abuse. Preaching also needs to, or leading needs to bring up voices that are not usually centered and make sure that everybody knows that their voice is important and listened to. And so, both in who is heard from the pulpit and in what is talked about is really important. It's important to have a culture of listening to people who don't usually have a voice. So whether that's in small groups or in counseling, that people are taught to listen. Congregational care teams are trained to listen, and to lift up voices that are often quieter. So throughout all, I think, parts of church, Safe Sanctuaries is not just how to respond to an individual disclosure of abuse, but how to be a church where people know that they will be heard, that they will be empowered, that they won't be squashed. And I think also there's a choosing sides. You need to choose the side of the powerless and not the side of the controllers. And I think there are various ways churches can show that they do choose the side of the oppressed, which is the side that God chooses throughout Scripture.
Tell me a little bit about what this day of training entails.
This day of training is actually quite interactive. There will be, I think, experiential learning is the best way to learn. And so you're not just going to sit and hear us talk. You're going to get up and move and interact, both in small group, in the large group. Do some things and collaborate. Where do we go from here at the end? It's not just going to end with, oh, okay, that was a great day. No, it's really, okay, what are the steps from here?
So we're not like the two experts who are teaching everybody. I mean, we realize everybody coming in is bringing their own knowledge, their own stories. And so hopefully it'll be a chance to collaborate, to bring what we've experienced, where we are, and help each other learn together. So it won't just be the two of us teaching the whole time. It'll be everybody who comes bringing their own experience and story and integrating those with what we have to bring.
So I'm just thinking about this training and I'm thinking about people like myself who have been through domestic violence. And I
Mm-hmm.
recognize that sometimes trainings can be very triggering for me.
Mm-hmm.
How are you going to address that within the training?
Well, in various times, we're going to bring that forward and say, this could be triggering. Please feel free to take care of yourself, get up and walk, get a glass of water, whatever you need to do. We don't go into details. We're not there to outline difficult situations, but if there is something difficult coming, we will definitely warn you and totally understand triggering. It's a very normal part of this. And actually, in the section on trauma, I'm going to talk about that a little bit.
So this is May 31st at Monroe Covenant from 9 to
Mm-hmm.
4. It's only $20, include your lunch and materials, and we will put the link on this video and in the newsletter so people can get a hold of either of you guys or get a hold of the website for the training. Thank you so much for joining me and for being a part of this very, very important work.
Well, thank you for inviting us to do this.
Excited about it. Thank you.